Welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. I'm Steve.
He is Steve. Welcome, Steve.
And you are matching the green wall behind us right now.
I didn't think about that until just now.
It's pretty cool.
So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I like how you coordinate your outfit.
I got up this morning, and my very first thought was, today's the podcast. What can I wear that will blend
into the screen behind me? If I would have known, I would have wore my shirt too.
If you would have known today was the podcast?
It would blend in even better. Well, yeah, if I would have known what I was doing today. I don't keep a calendar or,
right, because it's Monday. And
yeah. Whatever happens to me when I wake up. That's how I live my life. I have no wisdom, right?
You just that's not you are correct.
Rehoboam. Sorry, I've already slaughtered the name, and we haven't even got going yet.
We haven't even gotten there.
Haven't even
gotten there.
No. Where would you like to start? I have some questions, but is there anything else you would like to discuss? There's some upcoming
is there food?
Things. No.
I thought there would be food.
No, I was wondering if we wanted to talk about, upcoming building project, or if there's anything you don't want to talk about that. It's moving along. There's carpet going in. Literally, today? I saw pictures of carpet. Yeah, there's carpet going in today.
Where did you see these pictures?
I saw
on
them
the internet. Don't believe anything you see on the internet.
Well, it was part of the internet, but no. I saw in the kids area carpet going in.
Well, that's what the schedule says.
Yes.
So that's good.
I saw actual photos of the patterns.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we can just be real quick about this.
Yeah.
And until we have all the details, we don't want to talk too much about it. But,
right.
We announced yesterday that Comeback Sunday is going to be August 10th.
Yep.
And so that means that
Comeback Sunday is
when we come back to the building.
We literally come back to the building. We're coming back.
So that means that this coming Sunday, July 20th, will be at Centerville High School.
Right.
And then again on July 27th, we'll be at Centerville High School.
Yep.
And then on August 3rd, we will be somewhere else to be announced.
Yes.
Not to be determined.
We have a location, a really good location option. We're still figuring out some details.
Yeah,
we're not going to be homeless.
Until we nail it down, we don't want to give all the details. But we'll be somewhere else, maybe even closer.
Yeah.
It'll be a good location. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, for sure.
So
we'll make it happen.
We'll let you know as soon as we know for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For
all right.
sure.
Is that good enough?
That works. Yeah. I just thought people like to hear that kind of stuff too.
Both of them who are watching
Both
this.
of them. Have there been talks about an open house beforehand for people to come in? No? Is that something we would consider?
Cut that part out of the podcast.
Okay, because we're not even going to do, we don't even want to discuss.
I don't want people to get that idea.
Okay.
Cut that out of the podcast too.
Never mind. There's nothing like that. Comeback Sunday is the Sunday.
Correct. Yep.
To check it out.
Yep.
Okay. So I got a couple questions based on sermon on Sunday.
Yes.
So it's all about wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom is important to have in your life. So let's talk a little bit about that. And we're going to be talking about one person in particular.
One dude.
Rehoboam. I have a hard time with his name. Rehoboam.
So here's how you can remember his name.
Yeah.
Can you remember the name Jeroboam?
Yes.
So Jeroboam is Rehoboam's enemy.
Okay. Rehoboam.
But they have the same kind of name.
Jeroboam is a little easier to say.
Yeah, but now you can say Rehoboam.
Rehoboam. Yep.
Yeah. See, little trick.
Yep. So he was a direct recipient of Solomon's wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But why was he such a fool? That's the question here. Because Solomon is considered one of the wisest people in the Bible, really.
Yeah.
He was full of wisdom. He was kind of known for that.
He was the wisest man to ever live, except for Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So Rehoboam. So when let's talk about Proverbs first.
Yeah.
So when you think about Proverbs, who does Solomon address in Proverbs over and he always says, my son. Right?
Yeah.
My son, listen. My son, do this. My son, you read, especially in the first early chapters. My son, do this. My son, do that. So Solomon's son was Rehoboam.
Right.
And so, when you read Proverbs and you see Solomon saying, my son, you can actually insert Rehoboam.
Right.
Rehoboam, do this. Rehoboam, do that. And so the Proverbs, not all of the Proverbs are Solomon's, but the vast majority of them are, were literally written to Rehoboam.
Yeah.
And I believe the reason was Solomon wanted to prepare him to be a good king.
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes, why then was Rehoboam not a good king?
Why was he?
And why was he a fool?
Why was
because he was, like, as we saw in the sermon on Sunday, he was most definitely a fool.
Yeah.
And so why did that happen? I think there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Reason number one, I think, is because he didn't listen.
I think that's a very good reason, because you can have all the wisdom in the world, but if you don't listen to it and you don't follow the wisdom in your life, you will be a fool.
Correct. I like to think of it as, head knowledge versus what you actually do.
Yeah.
And Rehoboam probably had the head knowledge.
Right. But this is something that I think not just Rehoboam struggled with. I think most people struggle with this exact topic here of people like to learn the hard way. They generally don't like to listen to the wisdom that they hear. Yeah, and I'm going to get into that in a second, because that's the third thing. But the first thing I think is that he just didn't listen. Yeah.
Right? He had it all there. It was there for the thing. He didn't listen. I think the second reason, though, is really Solomon's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't see it lived out.
Right.
Right. So he didn't listen.
Yeah.
He didn't see it lived out, because Solomon knew all this and said all this and taught all this.
Yeah.
But didn't live it out.
Yeah.
You look at what Solomon did with his wives and his wealth and his horses and all these things.
Yeah.
We talked about on Sunday, where he did exactly the opposite of what God told kings of Israel to do.
Yeah.
He didn't live it out. And so this is a challenge for parents.
Yeah.
Parents, you take your kids to church, you tell them to obey the Bible, and then they watch you and you don't do it. They're not going to do it either.
Yeah.
Right.
So would you say then actions speak louder than words? Or would you not go that far?
So, yes, I think that's true.
Yeah.
But I think it's also going to be a cop-out sometimes, because words matter also.
Right. Yeah, right? Of course.
And so, like, sometimes people are like, well, actions speak louder than words, therefore don't listen to my words, just watch. No. They both speak equally loud.
In what case would someone say don't listen to my words? You're saying if they're using
so
swear words, or
no. So like a wife says to a husband, you never say I love you.
Yeah.
And the husband says, well, actions speak louder
than
words.
Okay, I see
Wrong.
what you you need to say both. Okay.
Right. Dads and kids, right? The dad's like, well, I provide for him. What more do I need to do? Yeah, you need to tell him you love him.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, actions do speak louder than words, but words also speak and are important.
See, you just dropped a little wisdom on all of us there. That's a good example.
Well, that's what
David.
I'm here for.
You are.
That's what I want.
I don't know if you're Solomon level, but
Well, I would like to say I live it out better than Solomon did. All right.
True.
So that's two. So there's a third thing coming here. So the first is Rehoboam didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
The second is he didn't see it. He didn't see it happen, so he never internalized it. But here's the third thing: is he just didn't have discipline.
Yeah.
And when I say that, what I mean is he was driven by motivations that are temporal and fleshly. So in the story that we looked at in 1 Kings chapter 12, where the people come to him and say, hey, lighten the load.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the people with the wisdom, the elders, and he says, what should I do? Which is the right thing. He did the right thing there. And they said, lighten the load. Listen to the people.
Yeah.
And instead he goes to his friends. It's like, what do you guys think I should do? They're like, show him you're a tough guy. And he's like, okay, I'm going to do that. And so because he wanted to be cool and he wanted to be accepted by his peers, he threw wisdom out the window and did his own thing.
Yeah.
And I think you talked about this, is that you said we like to learn by our own mistakes.
Yep.
We don't actually say that.
No, we do. Well, of course not.
Nobody says, well, I want to learn from my own mistakes.
You know what? I think I know better. I think I'm going to do it this way.
But what we do is we allow ourselves to be motivated by the wrong motivations.
Yeah.
Like I'm motivated by popularity. I'm motivated by the opportunity to have more possessions or more power or more pleasure. We're motivated by all of these things, and that takes us to places where we don't want to go.
Yeah.
Whereas what wisdom says is, don't be motivated by the present.
Yeah.
Be motivated by the future.
Right.
So live your life in the moment with an eye on the future, having learned from the past.
Yeah.
And when you can get that formula in place, then you can learn to be wise.
Yeah.
And Rehoboam didn't get it that way. Yeah. He didn't get it at all.
So he chose control over compassion in that
sense. He chose control over passion. But he also, I would say, he chose reputation and what people think of him over servanthood. He could have said, I'm going to be a humble king. I'm going to be a servant king. I'm going to be a spiritual leader. People might not like that.
Yeah.
Especially the people around me, they might think I'm an idiot. But I would rather be strong in the eyes of God than in the eyes of man. He didn't make that choice, though.
So then, back to the question is, why was he such a fool? I mean, I know you gave all those reasons, but what really made him the fool?
So he was set up in one way to have all the success in the world.
Yes.
Because all of Israel wanted him to be king. He had everything from Solomon.
Money.
But he was also set up to fail.
Yeah.
Because he was set up as an entitled brat who had always been given everything his whole life.
Yeah.
And so I think part of that falls on Solomon. So he was a fool because his father made him a fool. And he was a fool because he chose to be a fool.
Yeah.
So I think it's both and.
Yeah. Okay. So then let's move on to like the practical side of this, like how this applies to us here. So what advice would you give to someone who wanted to fill their time and fill their mind with better influence?
Yep. So we talked about this on Sunday.
Yeah.
That, influence really comes down to who fills your time and what fills your mind.
Yeah.
Right. And Rehoboam filled his time with the people who gave him terrible advice. And he filled his mind with, like we just talked about, the wrong motivations.
Yeah.
So I think the key word for me is intentionality. We need to be intentional about what influences us. We're always influenced by everything around us all the time.
Yeah.
So I need to be intentional about saying, I got to put myself in places, and I've got to put myself around people, and I've got to bring stuff into my mind that's going to influence me in the right way. So, are the people around me making me look more like Jesus or less like Jesus?
Yeah.
Are the things that I'm watching and listening to and reading, are they making me more like Jesus or less like Jesus?
Yeah.
Are the places that I go, are those places going to make me more like Jesus or less like Jesus? Is the way I spend my time, right? We can just go on down the list. It's just being a lot more intentional. Because it's so easy in our world to just shut intentionality off and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Right? I get up in the morning, I go to work, I do my job, I get done, I go home, I sit down, I pop on the TV, and I'm just going to veg out for 2 hours, then I'm going to go to bed. Yeah. And I've done nothing intentional my entire day. But if I start by saying, I'm going to wake up every morning, I'm going to be very intentional about what I do today. And I'm going to make sure that my interactions with people, the way I spend my time, what I let into my mind, all of that is going to be intentionally designed to make me grow more like Jesus. Then I'm going to be on the right path.
Okay. So what's one step that someone could take, like a first step that someone could take towards wisdom?
Okay, so I'm gonna probably surprise you with my answer. I'm not gonna say read a proverb a day.
Okay. That honestly, that's a really good one. That is a really good one.
I'm gonna back up one step from there, and I'm gonna say make a plan.
Make a plan.
Because reading the Proverbs a day is good.
Yeah.
But if you don't make a plan to do it, you're not gonna do it.
Right.
And so I would say make a plan, and even one step back from that, make a plan to make a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So here it is. I'm going to say, what I'm going to do is for a week, I want to try to be more intentional.
Yeah.
So for a week, I'm going to make a plan every evening.
Yeah.
So before I go to bed at night, I'm going to plan my day out.
Yeah.
Now, I know I can't plan the whole day out.
Like maybe put it on a calendar or write it on a sticky note next to your bed or something like that.
If you're a calendar guy, write it on your calendar. If you're a sticky note guy, write it on a sticky note. If you're an index card, write whatever you got to do. Make a plan, write it down, and the plan needs to include something where you're intentionally taking action to grow in wisdom. And that's where the read a proverb a day comes in, or listen to a podcast that's going to increase in wisdom, or have a conversation with somebody, whatever it is, make a plan to increase in wisdom and make a plan to make a plan.
Right. Okay. So essentially what we're trying to tell people is form a habit, right? We want this to become a habit which will start to influence your life once you have a habit.
Yes.
So what do you say to someone who maybe, comes up with the plan, but it hasn't become a habit yet, and they may miss a day or two here or there. Do you give them encouragement and just be like, hey, keep it up, you're on the right path? Or like, hey, suck it up, you just need to stick to the plan that you wrote, you commit to it and you do it? What kind of advice would you give there?
Well, I would say they didn't make a plan.
Yeah.
They made a wish.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I'm going to be harsh, right? You have some discipline. Like, make a plan and keep the plan.
Yeah.
If you don't keep the plan, you made a wish.
Yeah.
Right? And, wishes are wishes.
Right.
So I would say, make a plan, keep the plan. Now, if you want to talk about, like, what are some motivational tools that you can use that, because I know some people, that's helpful for some people, go on YouTube and just type in, how do I keep my plan? And you're probably going to get 100 videos of people telling you, here's what you can do to do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it just really comes down to do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, what would Yoda say?
Mm-hmm. Do or do not.
There's no try. That's right.
So once you get wisdom in your life, what is the benefit there? Like, why? What's the point of having wisdom?
So in one sense, I'm going to say, actually, I think life is better.
Yeah.
I think you live a better life when you live a wise life. That's not necessarily an easier life. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's easier. It's better. But I also think that when you have wisdom in your life, you're more equipped to handle the hard stuff in life.
Yeah.
I feel like the more I grow in wisdom, the easier it is to have an even keel in what should be stressful times.
Yeah.
Because my perspective's better. I can make a plan better. I understand what's happening better.
Yeah.
And there's so much involved there. But I think at the end of the day, what wisdom does is it makes life better.
Right.
And it makes me better prepared to handle the hard things in life.
Yeah. I think that's a great comment and observation. One thing that I enjoy, especially about Proverbs, which, is wisdom, is that for someone who, struggles at times with making mistakes, I just am pretty hard on myself when it comes to making mistakes, is that when...
I thought you were saying you struggle to make mistakes. Like, I never make mistakes.
No,
Other
I do.
People make mistakes, but I really struggle
I do make
with
mistakes.
that.
I'm just hard. I'm hard on myself when I do make a mistake or something I perceive as a mistake, is that when you have wisdom in your life, you have a path and a plan to follow. So if you can follow the plan, you know that you at least made the right choice, so you can live with the consequences. You're like, this is what wisdom says to do in this situation. And now the outcome may not be what I like or may not be the easiest path, but it's the right one to be on and will pay dividends in the long term.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of wisdom is when you start to understand the issue of control, and that I can't control everything around me. I can't control the people around me. I can only control what I do. And this is a huge message in Proverbs. And so once I recognize that, a lot of times it's easier for me to say, you know what, I can't control what happens next, but I can control what I do.
Yeah.
And so, like you just said, I'm going to do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
And I'm going to be okay with it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thanks for joining us this morning here.
Thanks for joining
us. And thanks for matching the color of the wall there.
I aim to please.
You do. That's very good. I'll have to remember that next week. Well, thanks for joining us on The Gathering Greenhouse. Until we see you again, keep it real, keep it rooted, and we'll catch you next time.